Page 127 for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. On page 124, they give you some more exercises. You gotta love them. It's the sight reading I would encourage you to do, though. So try and do this sight reading, and when you do that, make sure that you're lifting up for the rests. Try and be accurate on how long you hold these notes down. On page 125, they give you an exercise for trying to figure out what time signatures are. I mean, you're supposed to figure out what the time signature is based on the measure of music they give you. They give you one measure of music, and then you got to figure it out. And they give you the options up above, so have fun with that. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. On page 126, they're giving you some different tempo markings. This is fine if you're familiar with these pieces, otherwise they mean nothing. I prefer to talk about the tempo when we cover it in the pieces, with the actual pieces. So if you want to go through and try and do page 126, that's up to you. I don't put a lot of emphasis in it. The book does, obviously, they're here. But you need to be familiar with the pieces to understand the tempos. And the tempos, there's not one absolute set speed. The first one says allegro. Well, allegro, I mean, it's a range. Allegro, it's what is happy or fast to you. And they're all a range. I mean, it's not one set speed. A lot of metronomes will give you, on the scale for the metronome, they'll give you the ranges for the different tempi that's there, the tempo marks. But again, it's a range. Well, let's talk about this good fellow thing here. So it's just a 1 page long. Treble and bass clef, 6/8 time now still. We're still in 6/8 time. 8th note gets a count. One flat in the key signature. We're in the key of F major. Make sure you can do the F major scale, and you should also do the D minor scale. It has 1 flat in the signature. And probably ought to be doing them up 2 octaves by this point. I assume you know these scales by now. If not, learn them. Do them 1 octave and learn them. But hopefully you know the scales by now and you can start doing them 2 octaves. Do what I explain in the video, the scale videos. Because just running through the scale itself does very little. In fact, it can do some harm. But if you'll do what I explain in the video about the accents and dropping the wrists and so forth, then it will come. It will help you in playing fast and smooth and even and with control when you need it. Right hand first, let's check the fingering and notes and all that junk. Coming in on beat 6 here, a thumb here, here. 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Remember the B flats. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Measure 5 here. Now scrunch up and use the thumb. Instead of second finger, use thumb on that. We just changed hand positions. The fermata I'll talk about later. Right now it says, and then toward the end of the line, reach down with second finger here. Okay, the third line. Now it kind of looks like you're in this position if you look at the notes. But we have D's in this line, so we need here. So really we're in this position. So it's 2, 1, 2, 2, 3, or 5. That's pretty much the right hand. Left hand has broken chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just the 1 chord, and then the 5/7 chord. 1 chord. Measure 6 is the 4 chord. It's an F, a B flat, and a D, and that's tied, so you're going to hold that down. You lift up at the same time the right hand does, and then you go on. Put the hands together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Try and connect everything as best you can. 3, 4, 5, and again the fermata, come back later. Just lift up in the left hand. go through and put the hands together, and then go back through it and get rid of the hesitations. You go any speed you want, but no hesitations. Got to be a steady eighth note pulse throughout the whole thing. Then we can add in the articulation or the slurs, and I'll go ahead and put the fermatas in there too. Lift up in the right hand between the slurs. Try and connect the left hand. So lift up. You have to lift up on repeated notes anyway, but this is a little longer. It's a little longer silence. Lift up. And the fermata you just hold out as long as it feels right, and then you go on. When I do it with a metronome, I'll just hold it for 4 counts instead of 2. So you put in the articulation and then the dynamics. So it goes to the melody, which is the right hand. Whatever you think loud is. F for forte. This is a party song. This is a happy song. So left hand, keep it in the background. Now at the end of the second line, you have that decrescendo, the hairpin to come down. You come down to about a moderately soft or so. Actually, you can come down about a moderately loud too if you want. Just come down a little bit, because then on measure 9 or pick up to it, you're moderately loud. But at the end of the third line, the pickup, you go back up to loud. You can get the dynamics. Keep the left hand in the background. For the speed, it says moderato. Well, isn't this going to be interesting? What is moderato? Moderato is somewhere in the middle. But it is not the speed of the beat. Because if I do the speed of the beat at moderato, it's going to be about a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is slow. You see, the speed, the tempo is not the speed of the beat. It's the overall flow and feel of the piece. And moderato, I think, is a bit slow. This is a happy song. There's words to this. They don't give them in the book. So take it as a feel it. This. You can't go too fast because people are singing, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's okay. That's about the tempo you're going to have to go here, and you just go. You see, a lot of times in 6/8 time, it's felt in 2. You just feel a 1, 2, 1, 2, but you can't do that here with moderato, because a 1, 2 is that would be like that. That's a bit fast unless you've been drinking quite a bit, and so it's not really that either. But it's somewhere in between. I question their moderato here. I think a little faster here. Between moderato and allegro, it's up in there a little bit better, speed-wise, in my opinion. But it has to be accurate. So don't go faster than you can play accurately. Again, the natural accents here are going to fall on beat 1 and beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and beat 1 is a little stronger. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. It falls with the left hand, basically. And feel those. Don't force them. Feel these. Feel this in 2. Slow 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're just swaying along. I like to play this with you slowly. Let's just double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. As I said, I'm going to hold the fermata notes 4 counts instead of 2. Remember, we're counting eighth notes here. So I'll give us 5 counts because we come in on beat 6. 1, 2, 3, ready, go. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 5. Hold 2. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go on. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2. 1, 2, 3, 5. 2. 1, 2, 3, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 2.